Hello, my name is Jim Thompson, and I'm a professor at the University of Kansas and the lead author of the second edition of the Supports Intensity Scale, Adult Version, or SIS A. The American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, or AAIDD, has asked me to share information on the background of the SIS A, the changes in the second edition of the SIS A, and to describe the changes in the SIS A standard scores that have resulted from renorming. So that is what I'll try and do. First, the assumption that the original version of the SIS A and the second edition is based on is that people with intellectual disability and related developmental disabilities share a common characteristic. Namely, they need extra supports that most other people in society do not need to fully participate in activities and settings that are culturally valued. However, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are not a homogeneous group. They differ in terms of the types and intensity of support they need. And the SIS A is an assessment scale that provides a profile of the types of support people need across a wide range of life areas. And it provides an indication of the extent of different people's support needs. Some people need more intense supports than others. The SIS A is proven to be a valid and reliable assessment scale. There is a section that is non-standardized, meaning that there are not any norm scores associated with it. And this section measures people's exceptional medical and behavioral support needs. In the new edition, additional medical and behavioral support items have been added to provide a more comprehensive assessment. The second section of the SIS A is the standardized norm reference portion of the scale. This section includes subscales across a range of life activities, and it allows for a person's assessment results to be meaningfully compared to other people who are assessed with the SIS A. In the second edition of the SIS A, the standardized portion of the scale has the same items and the same subscales as before, except a new subscale has been added. In the old version, there was a supplemental scale that was called Protection and Advocacy, and it focused on life activities relevant to personal advocacy, self-direction, and self-determination. Our data analysis showed that this supplemental scale was every bit as reliable and valid as the other SIS A subscales, and it offered additional information that the other subscales did not. Therefore, the supplemental scale was renamed Advocacy Activities, and it was recast as a subscale, and it has its own standard scores, and it contributes to the overall Support Needs Index score. The Support Needs Index score is the composite score that reflects overall support needs. Another change for the second edition is that the scale is now normed on a broader range of people. It is important to mention that some people who were assessed previously will have different standard scores than their prior assessment, even if their actual raw scores on SIS A items have not changed. The reason for this is that they are being compared to a new standardization sample versus the old standardization sample. The new standardization sample includes over 100,000 people who were assessed using the SIS A. And this is a more representative sample of people who are served in today's intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD, service system. I have already mentioned that older adults are included in the standardization sample in the second edition. But the demographics of society as a whole have changed over time. Thus, the second edition's standard scores are based on a more demographically diverse sample than was used previously. Also, the disability characteristics of the IDD service system population have changed over time. For instance, there are a far greater percentage of people in the second edition standardization sample with a primary or secondary diagnosis of autism, because the population of people diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder has increased significantly over the past 20 years. Because of these changes in the standardization sample, older adults included, different disability characteristics present, and the inclusion of the new subscale, some people's overall standard SIS A scores and subscale profile scores will change when they are reassessed. The validity of any standardized assessment is tied to the currency of the data in which the standard scores are based. For example, the law school admissions test, the LSAT, does not compare people who take the test today to people who took it 25 years ago. The LSAT compares current test takers to recent test takers. Many standardized assessments in the field of intellectual and developmental disabilities have been very slow to be updated, and I'm proud that the SIS A is an updated assessment that reflects today's population. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch it. Goodbye.